not to be confused with Episcopal Diocese of Spokane, Episcopal Diocese of Olympia, or Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Washington. The Episcopal Diocese of Washington is the ecclesiastical territory, or diocese of the Episcopal Bishop of Washington in the United States. Its principal church, bishop's seat and spiritual center is the Cathedral Church of St. Peter and St. Paul, unofficially known as the Washington National Cathedral, located on Mount St. Alban at the intersection of Massachusetts and Wisconsin Avenues, NW in Washington, D.C. The Episcopal Diocese of Washington is a membership of the Episcopal Church in the United States of America, which is led by the presiding bishop of the National Church. The Episcopal Church is in turn a member of the Worldwide Anglican Communion under the titular leadership of the Archbishop of Canterbury at Lambeth Palace outside London, in England. The diocese's active youth ministry, abbreviated the EDOCOI, sponsors many events, such as lock-in in the Washington National Cathedral, and middle and high school retreats held in nearby summer camps. Since its creation in 1895 from the Episcopal Diocese of Maryland, the territory has included the District of Columbia, adjacent suburban Maryland counties of Prince George's and Montgomery, and the southern Maryland counties of Charles County and St. Mary's County. The land now known as the District of Columbia was once part of Prince George's County, Maryland. A congregation which later became known as Rock Creek Parish was founded in 1712, and by 7 years later had built a chapel of these four, which was the spiritual counterpart to secular government in Prince George's County. The congregation built a larger, Georgian-style building in 1775, which is now known as St. Paul's Episcopal Church, Rock Creek Parish. It is the oldest religious institution within the District of Columbia. The former glebe became the non-denominational Rock Creek Cemetery, now also home to the InterFaith Conference of Metropolitan Washington. As European settlement moved westward, and the area's population increased, additional congregations began and built chapels within what Maryland's General Assembly in 1776 designated Montgomery County. These congregations had split off from broader Rock Creek Parish and became Prince George's Parish in 1726 and Eden or Sugarland Parish in 1737, only to be reassigned to the newly formed Diocese of Washington over a century later. After the American Revolutionary War, both Maryland and Virginia donated land to form the new Federal District of Columbia. Additional congregations which ultimately became parishes formed much nearer the Potomac River at this time, including Christ Church, Washington Parish and St. John's Episcopal Church, Georgetown Parish. After the destruction of the War of 1812, with the burning of Washington in August 1814, St. John's Episcopal Church, Lafayette Square was built facing historic Lafayette Square across from the rebuilt President's House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, which later became known as the Executive Mansion and later the White House. St. John's has been long known as the Church of the Presidents, visited frequently by neighboring chief executives, and is the traditional site for an early morning prayer service and Mass during inauguration days on March the 4th and later January 20. Another historic Episcopal church formed in the capital city, and which hosted nearby Maryland diocesan conventions, is the Church of the Epiphany. Parishes formed during the 19th century's Oxford movement included St. Paul's Church on K Street and St. James Church on Capitol Hill. At least 6 historic African-American parishes formed in the capital city during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Construction of the Gothic Revival Cathedral Church of St. Peter and St. Paul in the city, and the Diocese of Washington on Mount St. Albans at the intersection of Massachusetts and Wisconsin Avenues in northwest Washington, began with a charter issued by the United States Congress in 1893, and on September 29, 1907, the cornerstone was laid in the presence of 26th President Theodore Roosevelt, and a crowd of 20,000, and continued with fits and starts until its general completion in the early 1990s, with a ceremony attended by 41st President George H.W. Bush, serving as a national house of prayer for all people and becoming a national landmark for the Protestant Episcopal Church in the U.S., and icon for the Anglican Communion in the world.